Out of my front door and alarm bells. Something was wrong. My motorbike was missing. Gone. My worst fears were confirmed when I realised it had been stolen. I was completely angry. I put years of work into that bike and it was taken from me. And that's just one particular machine. It's just a thing. What if somebody said to you, you can never, never ride again? And I don't mean like a judge, you know, being banned for doing something naughty or something like that. But much, much worse than that, being deprived of all of this. Now, here on Hell for Leather, we firmly believe in dabbling in the dark side. I think you'll agree that the idea of spending the rest of your life trapped in a car is too grueling even to think about. No more lovely summer's day ride-outs, and it's farewell to the independence of being on two wheels. Imagine a life without that. That's just too gruesome even to contemplate. When I close my eyes.
55-year-old Pete Griffiths from Bristol rides a Honda Fireblade 900. Nothing remarkable about that. Until, that is, you find out what happened to him 10 years ago. Pete, I can't imagine the idea of having all of this taken away from you. But a few years ago, that was the situation you were in.
Yeah, 10 years back. I came back from the Alaman TT on an FZR 1000X up. And 2 days later, I was travelling through Bath and car pulled out on me and I broke my back and I couldn't walk again, and no way did I think I'd ever ride again, but I was determined to have a go.
But it's all very well being determined. Didn't you have medical advice saying, please, Mr. Griffiths, you've got to calm down, you're not going to ride a motorcycle again?
All the medical advice pointed to that, because apart from the paralysis preventing use of my limbs, I've got no sense of balance either, and I thought this would be the huge stumbling block.
Even though Pete is paralysed from the chest down, the former lorry driver wasn't willing to accept that his riding days were over. Sheer determination, years of solid graft and 12 grand in development work led to Pete defying the odds that were stacked against him.
First of all, I attempted to ride a motorcycle at Cadwell Circuit, and in those days I had to get a couple of volunteers to lift me on the bike, tie me on, let the clutch out, so I felt that if I could ride once I was up and running, to overcome the problem of stopping and starting, get a miniature aircraft landing gear, and hopefully that will solve the problem.
Well, it sounds like you're quite a pioneer in terms of the modifications that you've made to the bike. Can you give us a kind of rough breakdown about what you've had to do to allow yourself to ride this?
Yeah, the complicated bit was to get the landing gear sorted out, because it has to cope with cameras and shocks transmitted through the road. The gear shifter was quite simple, just a question of a solenoid operated by a button on the right-hand handlebar, and to make it totally legal I had to get the rear brake operation moved from right foot onto right handlebar.
Now then, people at home who don't like the idea of somebody driving around with stabilisers on a motorcycle as powerful as this, what would you say to them?
Well, statistically it's the safest combination of rider and machine on the road. Statistics involving paraplegics on solo motorcycles are non-existent. It's a safe combination.
Now, I consider myself a loosely speaking competent motorcyclist, but I suspect that if I jumped onto your modified bike here, I might be all fingers and thumbs type thing.
Well, the difficult thing would be the fact that your feet would be locked in on the foot plates, and you'd be unable to put your feet down even if you wanted to. If you haven't got the ability to use legs anyway, you adapt to it, but if you know that you could put your feet down, if they weren't locked in the foot plates, that would probably worry you a lot more.
The question I have to ask is, what other mountains have you got left to climb?
I've got to overcome a few more hurdles like the wheelchair carrier and the reverse gear, so there's still development work to be done.
Do you think the reverse gear idea is viable?
At the moment I just sort of drive the front end towards a tree and bounce back, and
that's the story of your life, isn't it?
Yeah. But I'm sure it'll work eventually.